There is no will but God's. Often throughout the course and throughout these lessons even, it does remind how plainly and how obvious these statements are, and the fact that it's trying to say this very clearly, and and yet and we're so far removed from remembering who we are that it seems so obscured and somewhat blasphemous, as if we have these rules that we have to follow here, because we've developed these rules of our reality and insist that it has to be someone else, some other body, and not this body, right? You already, you know yourself as a weak person, you know yourself as a confused person, you know you have problems, difficulties, pains, sufferings, and you know that you're lost, you're confused, you don't know everything, you're like, what is this? And there's so many justifications to say, you know, I'm just a pathetic human being, right? So many justifications. And, you know, all of these justifications are literally, none of them go outside of the world somehow. Every single one of these justifications are literally in the fabricated reality. Every single one of them. All of your senses and even the mind in which is speaking to itself about how much it sucks. It's just like having some sort of character in a video game. That yes, everything in the video game and what it is capable of and what it knows and has been educated by and how much it's, say, programmed to know is all that it knows. It can't know outside of the video game. This is what your fabricated reality is like. You can't know outside of it. And everything will tell you, justifying, and everyone in it will justify the fact that you are completely separate from God. And yet, even in a statement like this, there is no will but God's. You hear, oh yeah, but no will but God's and my own. And I have free will, right? Yes, of course you have free will, because there is no will but God's. Do you hear what that's saying? Like, of course you have free will. Yes, absolutely have free will. And the only thing that would tell you otherwise, and even justify this whole free will or not free will, is still in the fabricated reality. Other people, the people in the world, right? In the dream reality, this experience. You can't see past your senses of seeing. You can't hear past your senses of hearing. You can't taste to smell. You can't feel past your feeling. Everything you know is with the sensory perceptions of what you think and process with your brain. So you're sitting here saying there is no will but God's, and the only reason you think you have a will separate from everyone else is because literally they choose something different than you all the time. Don't they? Like, you have to, like, convince people to go with you on any sort of subject. Right? You have to literally fight them to get them to go in the same direction with you. You literally have to put a leash on your dog to get it to cooperate. Like, there's so many variations of recognizing the fact that you literally are proving to yourself that you have, the fact that you have a free will is that everybody else has literally a different will. No one's choosing the same thing as you. Why is no one choosing the same thing as you? Because if they choose something the same thing as you, you might actually recognize, holy crap, I'm the will of God. I have the will of God. I am the will of God. Everyone is the will of God. If literally we all started choosing the same thing, we would start thinking we're the same person. And yet we're using the same will of God to literally prove to ourselves that we have free will. Like we say, even as in our religions, God gave us free will. Right? So that means it was God's will that we have free will. Which means, in that idea, it was God's idea that we have war. Literally war, all the time, war. Combating wills on every subject. I'm right, you're wrong. No, I'm right, you're wrong. No, I'm right, you're wrong. No, he's right. We're right, you're right, I'm wrong, you're right. You're both right. You're both wrong. I'm right. He's right, everybody's right. No one's right. Oh. Isn't it fascinating? Yes, okay. You can get some people agreeing with you and going in the same direction. That's possible. But with every one, there's two going a different direction. Or more. So just think about it. Just think about this. You're trying to discover that there is no will but God's. And that means that my will is somehow within God's will. And so it does take no matter how much I can describe it, you can either use me as a justification to seeing that we're separate wills, or start to make the connections into recognizing that we are one will. Now, are you going to be able to do that? Because you actually have to deliberately choose what is one will. Okay? So to recognize God's will, you have to realize, wow, I fight everything. Like I have this innate primal instinct to fight everything. No matter what someone comes up saying, hey, we're going to do this. And you're like, what? Why? Why? And that might just happen in your head. You're like, okay. I don't want to. Because you want to prove that you're separate. You're literally a decision of experience of separation. This whole thing, this fabricated reality, is the experience of having separate wills. But that is willed by God. Okay? So I know it's a little tricky because you still think you're separate. And how do you be separate and the same? And of course, you've heard me mention about the 10 dimensions of reality before. This course isn't specifically focused on understanding what those 10 dimensions are, but in the same sense of recognizing as the dreamer of the dream, you can be in a dream, right? You can be sleeping in a dream, and you have something happen that you don't want to happen. Now, how is that possible? You can have someone hurting you that you don't want to be hurt, right? You can have some monster chasing you that you don't want to be chased, right? You know that's a lie, right? You don't want to be chased, that's a lie. You don't want to be hurt, that's a lie. You're in a dream of your own mind. So everyone in it and everything that's happening is your choosing. Do you see it there? When you're in a sleeping dream, do you see it there? Nothing can happen outside of the dreamer's will, right? So you say you have a dream and you're like, I heard my dream of my wife cheating on me, and I don't like that. Well, if you don't like that, why is that happening? Like you're literally the only one in your dream. Your sleeping dream. You're literally the only one. Everyone, peopling in your dream, your mind. Look, there's this person in your mind. That's not really your wife in your mind, in your dream. It's in your mind. It's you. It's you having your wife cheat on you. You're seeing your wife cheating on you with another person, you, in your mind. You're cheating on yourself. And you're going to say, I don't want this to happen. And that's a lie. What could be a truthful statement is that you don't know who you are. You don't know what power you have over your own mind. You don't know that you are the dreamer of the dream. That could be that's a more honest statement. I mean, of course, you don't know that you want it happening. So that, of course, can be an honest statement if you really are blind to the fact that you want it happening. Yes. Okay. You don't know. You don't know. That's more honest. You don't know. That's great. Okay, you don't know. I'll give you that one. You don't know. But whose will is it to not know? Think about it. Just like in the dream, you don't know until you wake up and you're like, oh, wow, what happened there? I mean, I didn't know in the dream, but then I know out here, and I'm like, wow, okay, just like that bubble popping. Oh, wow, I really couldn't see in the dream. It's like the dreamer, or the character in the dream, is just allotted as much information as you, the dreamer, give it at the time. So it doesn't know that it's dreaming, because you don't want to recognize you're dreaming. It's the same thing about this world. You have to literally want to recognize it, and nothing else, above all else, you want to see. This is this is intense stuff. You literally have to go all in, or else you're not gonna really. If you go half in, you can just get half out of it. That's all. You got to go all in to get all out of it. Serious.